Our next guest has been a troublemaker since she was in the 7th grade. She got sent to the principal's office for protesting the Vietnam War. Cecile Richards is no stranger to controversy. As the president of Planned Parenthood, she's been a progressive activist for years. Cecile is leaving Planned Parenthood early next month, but stepping down doesn't mean she's stepping out of the arena. She's got a new book out, just published, about her life. It's appropriately titled Make Trouble. Here to discuss what's next, please welcome Cecile Richards in the house on the Van Jones Show. Yay!
How you doing?
Very,
Good to
very
see you
good.
too.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to say I actually read the book. And
I'm so honored.
Thank
you.
Hey, listen, and more importantly, I audiobooked it. So I actually heard you read the whole book.
With my Texas accent and everything.
And listen, there were times I was tearing up on airplanes. It's a beautiful, beautiful book.
Thanks.
I encourage everybody to get it. But people have been talking about you behind your back, and I'm going to tell you to your face.
All right.
Everybody's being too nice to you. You picked the wrong time to leave us, Cecile. Where are you leaving? We need your help. You know who's in the White House? Why did you decide to leave now?
Well, as you said earlier, I'm not leaving in the sense of, I'm stepping aside from the job I've had for 12 years at Planned Parenthood because I think the organization is as strong as it's ever been.
True.
And because I want to be 100% focused on, to your last segment, getting every single person we can registered, motivated, and out to vote this November.
The Republicans are often saying, well, this next generation actually is in a different place on women's rights. They're a different place on abortion rights. And they're saying that you're losing the next generation. Is that true?
100% no. In fact, it's interesting. I've been out on the book tour for the last couple of weeks. Women are flooding these events. Young women, women who've been fighting these fights for a long, long time. But no, I think this is the most progressive generation that we've ever seen. As you know, 4 million young people turn 18 every single year. And they are flocking to Planned Parenthood, not only as patients, but as activists. I have never felt like it's a better time to be an organizer and a troublemaker and an activist than it is now.
Mm-hmm. One of those women who's in a very strong position who could maybe make a positive difference is Ivanka Trump. You had an opportunity to meet with Ivanka Trump, and it didn't go as well as you had hoped. What would you say as a strong woman leader to her, as a strong Republican woman leader, that she should be doing that she's not doing right now in the White House?
Well, pretty much anything. I feel like right now, she is the highest. Obviously, she's the daughter of the president. Sure. But putting that aside, she's actually one of the highest ranking women in the White House and federal employees. And my understanding is her portfolio is women. There are a number of places in which she could be making an impact, but we are seeing this administration is the worst for women that I've seen in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. But so you, just because some people may not know, so you got a chance to meet with Ivanka, you sat down with her, Jared Kushner, and rather than making the progress you're hoping to make, it became more of a discussion about how if Planned Parenthood gave up doing abortions, you might be able to get more money. Was that disappointing, and how did you feel about that? I just saw that in the book, and
Well, I wouldn't say I had high expectations for the meeting going in, but certainly my position is that anywhere I can go and talk about the incredibly important work that Planned Parenthood does, particularly to provide affordable health care for millions of folks every year, then I'll do it. It was pretty clear that what at least was in Jared's mind was that if we would just simply quit providing safe and legal abortion to women in this country, that he would talk to Paul Ryan about getting us money or perhaps more money. And I just said, look, we are not going to trade away women's rights in this country for money. And so it didn't end well, but I feel like I made my point. And then we went out and, of course, defended Obamacare and defended Planned Parenthood. And today, Paul Ryan is retiring, and Planned Parenthood's doors are still open all across the country. So I feel like,
Well said. Listen, you just wrote such a warm statement about Nancy Pelosi, and that she got the Time 100. You were her chief of staff, and yet, Republicans want to run against her. They think that she's a terrible person. What do you know about Nancy Pelosi that you wish people in the heartland knew about Nancy Pelosi?
Well, one thing, I think it's indication that the fact that the Republicans want to get rid of her and go at her so hard is, I think, because she's the most effective politician in Congress, and that's been true. And as a progressive, I'll say, forgetting the gender issue, I have never worked with anyone who holds our values so strongly and does not give in. She's I think she is really underrated and underestimated. And I guess my general feeling is when I see the Republicans going after Nancy Pelosi is we need more women in Congress, not less.
Also, your mom was able to run and win against a Trump-like person.
100%.
Back in 1990, I think it was. And of course, Hillary Clinton wasn't able to pull that off.
Right.
So you've seen two different campaigns. What do you think that women, look, we got Amy Klobuchar, Kamala Harris, Kristen Gillibrand, others who might want to run against a Donald Trump. Right. So having seen one go well and one go badly, what advice would you have for women running against people like him?
Well, I guess one thing I'd say is I think because Hillary ran, it's going to be easier for the next person. It's not going to be easy, but I feel like she really demonstrated what it takes. And I just have to point out, Van, she did get 3 million more votes than Donald Trump. So in any case, I mean, she's not in the White House, but I do think by any measure, she ran a really important campaign. I think what really, and I know you were talking to Senator Sanders about this too, I think that the frustration that women are feeling in this country right now is that no one in Washington is talking about the issues they care about. They're not talking about their access to health care. They're not talking about their access to child care.
You have people who are watching this who feel under assault.
Yeah.
They feel that this president and his rhetoric is triggering them, it's traumatizing them. You've had to lead an organization that's literally under assault. What advice do you have for people who are trying to get through this? You've had to hold a team together through the roughest of the rough. What gets you through?
I mean, I think, again, I've been very privileged to be a social justice activist my whole life, and I think you have to focus on the progress we make because this is a long journey for all of us that really want to make social change. And so I think it's important to recognize when we do make progress, when we do win, when we do things like win Obamacare, when we do things like keep Planned Parenthood's doors open. And what I thought about this entire year as the president and Congress was taking aim at Planned Parenthood is every single day that we could keep our doors open, 8,000 people were getting health care in America, and a lot of them wouldn't be getting it otherwise. Right. And then I think if you stand up for the people who are counting on you and you stand up for the women and not the politics, things sometimes just go your way and people recognize it.
My advice to anybody who's trying to figure out some way to get through a tough time, buy this book and read this book. It's an extraordinary book. It's a beautiful book. Love you and appreciate you so much.
Thanks a lot.